Hello, Josh. It's your favorite uncle. Thank you for catching the hashtag replay. I greatly appreciate it. And happy Nurse Week, you guys. Happy Nurse Week. I've missed you guys. I miss going live. I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, share, come back. We are going to have fun because on Nurse Week, I've decided that I want to get back in interviewing people because I enjoyed it. I enjoy learning, and I know other people enjoy learning as well. So I have a wonderful special guest who is a nurse. Well, I don't wait. Hold on. Let me wait and pause to say that. I got to message her, let her know. So she knows to come on in. Let me make sure to send her the invite as well because we want her to come on because this is Nurse Week and this is about nurses. First off, how are y'all doing? How are y'all doing today? Let me know in the chat in the comment section. How y'all doing? Because we about to have a good old time in the Lord. In the Lord. We about to have, that's the old side. Now. That's what the saints used to say. We want a good old time in the Lord. And we are. Because we're going to get this interview in. And, people are going to learn more about the nursing profession. The nursing field. The nursing career. And I am truly, totally excited. I'm just waiting for her to come on. But before we begin, y'all. So first off, y'all know me. I've been writing a story. Check it out on my other page, Your Favorite Uncle, The Dragon Master. Go start from the very beginning. It's a good story, if I do say so myself. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Writing it, I'm actually going to be turning that into a book that I probably need to release by the end of this year. That's one. Number two, I missed y'all. And this is Nursing Week. So if you know nurses, tag them. If you know a nurse, tag a nurse. Tag a nurse. If you know one, tag one. Yes, send her the invite. Yep. Hello. Is this you, Dr. Colón? That's my nickname for her, Dr. Colón. Yes. If this is you, Dr. Colón, let me know. And if not, we'll start the live over. We'll redo this again. We'll get there. Because, Facebook. Y'all know how Facebook be. We love you, Facebook. We do. Because we know you watching us like Big Brother. But we know how y'all are. But we love you just the same. It wouldn't be you if it wasn't. So I'm just waiting for her. Let me message her to get on. One of these days, y'all, I'm going to come back and do a live. I would just need a topic. Y'all can leave that in the comment section too. What topics would you like me to talk about? And I'll actually talk about it. That'll actually be fun because I miss talking to y'all about certain topics. I just got to get my special guest up in here so we can have a ball. We about to have a KEU cousin ball. Y'all don't even understand. And if not, it's about to be a good time. Okay. She's getting on. She's trying to get on. If not, we will start this over. Or if not, she will go live and I'll jump on. I've done that before, y'all. I've actually interviewed people and something was going wrong on my end. So guess what I had to do? I told them they go live. I jumped on and it worked. I said, okay, this is how this is going to work. I jump on. You do live. I jumped on and I did it. And I conducted my interview. How you do a live? How I'm supposed to interview you? I'm supposed to be the one starting it off. I was like, no, you got to do it. Because Facebook on my end, for some odd strange reasons, deciding that they just don't. I sent you the invite, doctor. Did you get it so you can hop on? Or send a request. If you need to, send a request to get on. It should give you that request option. And I'll gladly let you on. Thank you for bearing with us, you guys. Y'all know. And stick around, y'all, because my goal was to interview nurses for this entire week. So tag a nurse. If you know a nurse, any other nurse, even you, Dr. Colón, tag a nurse. I want to interview nurses this entire week. I just want my week filled with just interviewing nurses, talking to nurses, conversating with nurses, because this is Conversations With. I always wanted to do something called Conversations With. There's Tisa, another nurse. I would love to interview Tisa this week, because she is a nurse, and I would love for people to get to know her, love on her, and see her perspective of nursing. Just, we might have to start this over. I sent it to you, doctor. I made sure to send it to you. We talking. If not, I might have to restart. Yes, Tisa, I'm interviewing you, so you best to find some time. If it got to be 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, trust I'm up. I will be up. We might have to... Hold on. So I can add Tisa. What's that? Doctor, can you are you able to get on your phone? That's why, yeah, okay. I'm serious, Tisa. I'm interviewing you. You're a nurse. There's one nurse I want to interview and can't. And you know who it is. I've been thinking about her all the time. And that's the one nurse I truly want to interview. So, yeah, I have to message her, y'all. Thank you for bearing with us. Get on your phone, please. That's what I'm using, because... Thank y'all for bearing with us. How are y'all doing? Comment how you're doing. Let me know where you're joining us from. It could be from the good old state of West Virginia, which I do rep. Tisa, you don't understand. She would be the best to interview. And I would love to interview her right now. However, I also got another great nurse, you. And now we got Dr. Colón.
Oh my God, yo! I think my I said, is my laptop, my computer outdated? That's probably what it was. So I'm on my phone right now.
Yes, absolutely. I even said I said, get on your phone, because I know, doctor, my laptop, the way it's looking, I said, this ain't going to connect. Just get in your phone, get in your car, and do your interview.
Wow. No, I'm at home right now, but
Yes.
on my...
You look so pretty.
Thank you.
Yes, and before we begin, y'all, Dr. Colón was the one, for anybody that doesn't remember, I did like a revealing where I opened up the pretty much an AAVE patois Black English version of the Bible. Dr. Colón, who speaks the language, was the one that sent me the Bible.
Yes, yes. Gullah, right? The Gullah Geechee?
Yep. I was like, yo, she's the one that sent me the Bible. Now, she speaks that language fluently. I'm trying to learn. So that's why I went into the Bible. Like, let me learn through Jesus how to talk like this.
Gullah Geechee. Yes, I remember that.
Absolutely. And yes, for those that don't know, this is Dr. Stacy Colón Porter. I call her Dr. Colón and spell it the English way. That's my nickname for her, because iPhone translated it like that. Like,
Yeah, I remember. I saw that. I'm like, oh, reminded me of jokes growing up in school. Colin, colony. Yeah, I hear
colony. You could have at least said Colin.
colony. Yeah,
Colony. There's no Y in my name. I'm like, there's no Y. You could have said Colin at least. Colin would at least been on brand.
right. Yeah. So yeah, let's get this party started.
Yes, we're going to get this party started. So, first, I do have questions. I sure did. I came prepared. So, first question, Who am I speaking with?
Who are you
Who is this?
speaking with? You know how they be like J-Lo from the Bronx or
Yep.
whatever. Bronx? Nah. Yeah, I'm a Stacy, because before the doctor, before the title and all that other stuff, I am a Stacy Colón Porter, born and raised in the Bronx. Proud to say that, Boogie Down Bronx. Um, I am a first generation immigrant. Both my parents are from Honduras, but I have family in Honduras and Belize. So we are Garifuna. So I wanted to correct that. It's not Gullah Geechee that was connected. It was Garifuna.
Yeah, I thought you were Garifuna because
Yeah,
I knew you and, if I'm not mistaken, Serene
I'm not familiar.
in KU. Serene's actually Garifuna as well. Her parents are from Honduras.
Okay, okay.
So
I'm not with uh,
I was like, yeah, you're Garifuna. Wow. Could you tell us a little bit more about that Garifuna side before we jump into the nursing side? Because I love.
Yeah, I grew up I'm so grateful to my parents for teaching me the culture and me being immersed in it. The Garifuna for West Africa, everything starts in the motherland and landing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines
Mm-hmm.
have
Remember that.
and the Arawak Indians that came together and came up with Kalipuna, with the name, but then came to Garifuna. Garifuna in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they fought against the French. So we were not an enslaved people. Fought against the French. The French was like, "Oh, we're not having it," so they booted out the Garifuna from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, put them on a boat, where many died en route. Because they didn't have no resources, no food or anything. The first Garifuna landed in where many people, when they always go to Honduras, either by cruise, they always land in Roatan.
That's later all the time.
And so that's where the first Garifuna landed in Honduras. And so then they branched out into the mainland. And from there, they went to Belize and Guatemala, Nicaragua, and then now we're everywhere. So the interesting thing is, depending on where you landed as a Garifuna, is what you adopted. So in Honduras, it's Spanish, right? Because colonialism, the Spaniards were there, so learning Spanish. And in Belize used to be British Honduras, so the British was there. So you'll hear more of accent similar to Roatan, a lot of the Creole, type with speaking Garifuna. So yeah, that's a quick snap of it, but it's our culture, it's our food. Um, once upon a time we were people, and I say once upon a time, people that were not heavily involved in politics. We kept everything
Which
communal,
is good though, which, if
very
you don't mind
good.
me interjecting, I feel like that's better than getting into politics.
That's,
Like if you could just, y'all, this may sound bad, bear with me though. If you just stayed in Roatan and then built that
mhm.
community, they can do and say whatever they want. We're here. Now, once it starts to affect you, that's when you pay for somebody to go to college so that they can be pushed in there so then they can start making the policies for Roatan.
Okay, right. Yes. So I would say in Honduras is the largest population of Garifuna. It's about 20 plus, might be more, 20 plus villages of Garifuna. So they're the largest. Yeah. Hmm.
That's awesome. And I have met like other Garifuna people, and I'm just like, wow, it's, very interesting to hear the differences and the similarities. I remember asking someone who was Garifuna, what's the difference between you guys and the Samba tribes in Ecuador? And,
Mm,
just to hear people talk about the difference in, the indigenous mixing with the
yeah.
African, it's not all the same. Languages are different, cultures different, but there are some similarities because we are African and Afro-Indigenous people.
Yeah. The diaspora. Hey, you might call this here, that this person may call it, but the food, just a lot of similarities, with it. And I wanted to come on here because I was like, oh, let me introduce a word, Buiti Binafi, which means good morning in Garifuna. Buiti Binafi.
Buriti Binafi?
Yep,
Buriti
Buiti Binafi.
Binafi. Thank
Mhm.
you. I appreciate that. Yes. And y'all, she's got Ifuna first gen. So we love our first gens. Y'all know I majored in Spanish. So you know I love anybody from
Yeah,
Latin America, Spanish America. So you're welcome as home here.
that was my first language.
Oh, you still speak Spanish?
Sí, yo hablo español. Funny thing, you know how I learned
Mm-hmm.
English? Because my parents didn't speak English. Sesame Street.
Somebody else said, I've heard people say they learned English through Sesame Street. I've heard people say that. I do.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So there's a question I do want to ask because I don't know if you watched the whole video, but before I said I don't want to call her a nurse, I want to hold off on that.
Okay.
Do you get offended when people refer to you as a nurse? That's the first question I do want to ask you.
No.
Okay.
Oh, not at all. I mean, that's the genesis of all this. Yes, I'm Dr. Porter by nature of the highest terminal degree that I hold, right? But it's a doctor of nursing practice. I am an I'm first a nurse. I'm gonna always be. I am a nurse. You know,
Okay.
with that degree.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because I've had experiences like recently. Now, mind you, before I begin anybody, wherever I go, I ask for nurse practitioners. ER, doesn't matter. If I'm in the ER, I see a doctor, I was like, is there a nurse practitioner? I've literally told doctors, can you bring me the nurse practitioner? Because I
Love it.
trust nurse practitioners. Anytime my primary care nurse practitioner. I remember one time my nurse practitioner left and I went somewhere else just because there was a nurse practitioner there. So I
Oh,
always prefer nurse practitioners. My latest one says she feels offended when people call her nurse because she has a DNP.
oh, I see what you're. Okay,
Yes.
I know what you're saying
Yes.
now. I thought you said in general, right? If she's in a practice setting and someone is just saying nurse, maybe like nurse so and so. I know who I am, but please respect the title. I mean, we've earned it, and if we're in a practice setting where I have other peers and they're being called doctor, so and so, I am too. I hold that terminal degree, so please, respect that.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Absolutely. Yes. I just wanted to like clarify that for some
Mhm.
people because there are some nurses that are DNPs that might feel some type of way. There are some that are just like you said off rip. I'm still a nurse at the end of the day. So if you didn't know I was, Dr. Colón and you saw NP, you're like, excuse me, nurse, could you come help me, please?
Right.
Without, because I've done that without even thinking, like NP, like, oh, you're still a nurse. Excuse me, nurse, could you come and assist me? I'm bleeding profusely from my arm, and you know,
And the setting, yeah.
yeah. So I do understand. So my first question is, what inspired you to become a nurse, and how has your motivation evolved over the years?
Wow. I would say what inspired me perhaps is watching my mom. My mom in New York used to work as an immigrant. She worked as a home attendant. And so there were moments and times that I had the opportunity to go with her. So as a home attendant, she's caring, for the elderly or those who are unable to care for themselves. So I would say that was my first take in watching some type of caretaking, nurturing, something, to that degree. And then I know when I was and then watching my family. So when we have any, family that were ill to the point nurturing, taking care of them as well. I'm glad you asked that because I have my cousin, and I would say that may have been, he was sick at one point. Unfortunately, he transitioned. This was 1995, and I remember going in there. He called me one day. He said, "Cuz," in Spanish, "please, por favor, ven aquí. Please come and bring me some food." And so I was like, oh my God, what are they doing to my cousin? They're not feeding him, Anyway, I cooked food and took a cab and went to go see him. And just watching that, that, that had an impact on me. So my mother, that, and then um, I joined the military. And
You guys
I,
want to talk about that?
yeah, so I plugged that in there because I was wanting to join as a nurse. But I was offered another job instead. And they said they don't have no openings for that. And so I went and followed a different career path for 13 years before I became a nurse. But mhm,
Wow, you didn't become a nurse until 13
later.
years
Hmm.
after. Wow, I know a lot of people, they usually get in and get out. So my follow-up question is, with that, what how do I want to phrase this with you? It's like, what was your original career change, and how did that lead to be realizing, okay, it's supposed to be, God's calling me to be a nurse?
Right. So for some reason, it was always in me. Like when I joined the military and I would go into different stations, I always wanted to volunteer in the hospital, but I just, for some reason, just didn't have the time to do it. And so I'll say in 2004, um, my last assignment before I transitioned as a nurse, I worked with live chemical agents. So I worked, one of the best positions that I had. I was an instructor, and so we would instruct everyone from across the world how to operate in a chemical environment, for war. And there was a program, a newspaper clipping that said, "Hi," it was a recruiter coming in. "We have a program called the Army Enlisted Commissioning Program where they will send you to school for 2 years to be a nurse. And once you finish, it was an accelerated track. Once you finish, you commission as a nurse." So I remember looking at it and I was like, man. Um, and then I remember speaking to my husband and I said, there's a program, but this was April. So I have to tell you the time frame. It was April. I looked at the newspaper clip, and I was like, I don't think I'll have time to submit my packet, and I don't know. And I remember him saying, just do it, you know, just do it. And in 3 weeks, I had my packet complete, which meant applying for a secret clearance, getting fingerprints, getting this, just everything. I had no nursing prerequisites. Again, it was a 2-year program. I had some college, and I'll tell you, in less than a year, I knocked out prerequisites. I applied to several different colleges to knock out taking courses, AMP 1, microbiology, and chemistry 1. Boom, one semester. The next semester, chemistry 2, AMP 2, sociology, boom, boom, boom. By the time the following year came, I was done with my prerequisites and ready to attend nursing school. So, so before that, I had applied. So my packet got accepted. I got accepted. It's a competitive program. It got accepted, and I knew I was on a time clock, so I had to complete those prerequisites by the following year, and got accepted, to Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. And yeah, it was quite a journey. It was quite a journey. I remember. I'll stop there if you have any other questions. But you
Oh
said
no, no. I just know I like to hear that because I want people to hear, especially throughout the week, that not everybody comes to nursing the same way.
no, no.
Like you said, it took you, like I was working in a different field 13 years, and then I decided to come back and go become a nurse. There are people who do it right out of college, and
Yeah,
there's
right.
people that wait till their 40s and 50s and realize, oh, I want to be a nurse. Like there's a guy that I follow. He's 53. He's in medical school.
Mhm. Yeah. Hey, if you have breath, energy, everything else, support, then I always say go, go for it. And I had that. I had support, of my my husband, the army again, they funded me to go. I was not a traditional student. I was married with 2 boys, so I was not traditional, and I was at that time I was 28. I was 28.
Oh, you were young. Oh, okay. You were still a baby. You were still young. I mean, you're young now, but I'm like, I'm thinking the way you're describing it, you were like older than,
Well,
like you were in your 30s,
well,
like well into your 30s. I was like,
uh,
oh wait, she was young.
yeah, but I didn't feel young then. I don't know. 28 in the early mid 2000s. I don't know, but
That sounds like fun though, because I remember my time being in the 2000s, and I was a baby. So to hear somebody say 20,000, that actually sounds like a fun time.
yeah,
2000s had some of the best music.
it did. The 90s, but
90s, 2000s music, especially the early 2000s music is top tier.
Yes, yes, yes,
It
yes.
is. Another question I do have for you, because you're describing nursing and you said that you enjoyed always volunteering. So that leads me to, could you ever describe like the most impactful experience you had with a patient that you will never forget? I'm talking about that number one that you instantly thought of that you would never forget as long as you live.
You know what? I may be one that goes against the grain because as a person that loves journaling and a person that takes every experience and reflects upon it, there really isn't that one. Every every patient, client, whatever, get was a teachable moment for me. It was. So I know it goes against it's not the it's like that one, and it's just like, man, I mean I can speak of many that I have encountered, but each one taught me something. Each one, it was like this reciprocal thing. Yes, I'm here as their nurse. They also they taught me something. You know, so
I like that. I like that there's not just one, because each patient probably taught you about, there's nine gifts of the spirit. Each patient probably taught you one patient probably taught you long suffering. The other one probably taught you kindness. The other one probably taught you, patience. One probably taught you peace. So there's
yes, yes, it's yeah. That's my honest, authentic
But
answer.
no, I totally understand that, because especially depending on the specialty, that also depends on, the type of patients that you have. Like a pediatrician is going to have tiny humans.
Mhm.
A psychiatrist will probably have tiny humans, but also have adults. So it also depends as well. Which, speaking of specialties, how did you handle like the stress and the emotional demand at the stages of nursing? Like when you decided, like, and before you answer that, like, what type of nurse are you? Are you like my friend Tisa? She does endocrinology. There's oncology. My sister's oncology. My friend psych. What did you choose as a BSN, and then how did that differ when you became an NP, or is it the same?
So, so let me go back because you talked about stressors and all
Mm-hmm.
that. So first and foremost, I go to the one that handles all stress. That
Yeah.
is okay, Jesus. Um, I graduated with my BSN. Again, I had an obligation to the Army. So the Army still, back then, I think they're changing a bit, but when you come in, you have to serve as a med surg nurse, medical surgical, on a medical surgical floor. However, prior to that, because of my background of my experiences going to Honduras, seeing um, the people there, family, and also doing some outreach things, I found that nursing had this thing called public health and community health. And so I was already doing research in nursing school. I said, "Oh yeah, okay. They want me to commit to this for 2 years med surg, but I know what I want to do." And so there were three things I wanted to do. It was public health, psych, OB at a certain point. But the OB, I was like, "Oh, I'll wait." Psych. When I did my psych rotation, I was like, "Oh man, this is a little too heavy for me." So I was like, And public health. So I went med surg. I did my time, or actually less than my time. You know a thing called favor, right? Favor. So you had to do 2 years in med surg. Well, here's a Stacy. I come in, proactive a bit. I did my med surg time, but you know what I did on my off days? I found out where the public health department was for that installation I was in. I said, hey, can I come in and volunteer? Just kind of shadow and see. And so I kept that mum to myself. It was on my time. And when the time came for packets to be submitted for public health, there was an exception, and I got an exception in God's favor to where I was able to submit my packet before the 24 month. It was actually at 19 months. and I got to go to the preventive medicine course. So the trajectory of my career involved a lot of public health, and the beautiful thing about public health is I got to do so many things and actually cover the areas that I told you about. Okay, I like kids, OB kind of. I like psych. So I got to cover that. There I held different positions where for one I worked as a STI counselor, tobacco cessation, counselor. So I in when dealing with service members that had an STI, let's say that came in, or tuberculosis, STI being sexually transmitted infection, they came in. That can be traumatic for some, that come in. So a part of the scope of my practice was to provide education and counseling, and then and treatment options. So I got to cover that. So I love public health because it allowed me to um, do all the things that I enjoy doing. And the core of it is educating. So I've done being a data analyst, I've done epidemiology, I'm a consultant, for equivalent to a mayor of a city. We call garrison commander. So I've done consulting, maternal health consulting. I've been a health consultant for special needs accommodation. So it's uh, very special process for me. So basically ensuring that the director of the daycare facility um, provides a reasonable accommodation for that child in that facility.
I like that. So that leads me to when you decided to become a nurse practitioner, did you focus in community public health? Was it um, emergency, psych, OB,
Okay.
peds?
Woo, you are. So before the nurse practitioner, while I was I have a master's of science in nursing and nurse educator. So I have an MSN in nursing education. Um, how many years into my career as a nurse? Um, maybe 7 or so. I applied for another competitive program that the Army had, which was called Long-Term Health and Education and Training. And so they send you to school for either 2 or 3 years to pursue a higher, degree. So, they paid for my undergrad. Um, and so now this time I was going for a postmaster's. So, one year I was applying for my MPH and I didn't get picked up. I was an alternate but never got picked up. And within that same year, they decided to allow public health nurses to pursue a DNP. I was like, oh, okay, timing. It was all about timing. And so the school I went to was very unique. I didn't know that until I got in there. So I actually pursued I call it 3 degrees in 3 years. Um, I was picked up to pursue my doctorate in nursing practice with specialization in community health and then primary care um, nurse practitioner. So I think the school is slick, but it's called community health primary care nurse practitioner. Essentially, it was literally 2 degrees in one, but they compiled it in one. I had to do two separate clinicals. So yeah, so I did stay within my scope, what I thoroughly enjoyed. And I did enjoy, though challenging, I did enjoy pursuing that degree because I did sit in with family nurse practitioners, that were practicing. So I pursued those courses as well, those that didactic, and then also community health. So I got to do both while also pursuing the doctoral degree.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is
Ooh,
awesome.
but God, I would say
But
that.
God. And you're done with school, is that correct?
Yeah.
No?
No,
Okay.
no, no. I gave myself a break,
I
like
was like,
long break. I thought I would be like done. I'm a lifelong learner. I am, but I'm uh I'm I'm considering something else. God still got some work to do.
gonna tell you what I told my sister who's a nurse. You ready, doctor? I mean this with all
Oh,
respect because I love you.
hmm.
Get a hobby.
Oh, I have
Get
that
an
too.
get an energizing hobby.
I have.
There's a difference.
I, I'm actually pursuing. Well, I don't even know if I should. I love Pilates.
Okay.
That I do. I do Pilates,
And you
and
teach Pilates, right?
I'm in the process of doing
That's why I said get it because I had to tell her that too because she getting all these degrees. I get it. She wants to be a veterinarian.
that.
She's doing all what she got to do to become a veterinarian. But I told her she already got like associates, bachelor's, and masters. She had to get her second master's just so she can. She's going from nurse to vet, just so she can then go to vet school. I said, girl, get a hobby. She's like, I will once I become a vet. She's like, when I become a vet, then I'll get a hobby.
Well, I'm doing. I'm covering it all, but
Right.
but I've learned um to pause, on some things or whatever through the trajectory.
Absolutely. I do have a another question for you, and this is, as you know, doctor, there are, because they say there's a shortage of nurses, which I don't particularly agree with that statement. I do feel like that statement is false. I'm not a nurse, but I just feel as if, based off of my research, it's not that there's a shortage of nurses, there's just a shortage of nurses at bedside. Because
Yeah.
I see nurses all the time.
Mhm.
See people actively going to school to become nurses all of the time. It's just a lot of people. Like my one friend said, he didn't enjoy working bedside, so he went to the psych ward, and he's flourishing. He loves it. He said this is the greatest place for him on earth.
That's
He was
exciting.
meant to be a psych nurse. So my question, because of that, I'm noticing that a lot of these schools now are becoming what some people would say, not my words, not a nurse, diploma mills, as they're doing a lot of direct entry. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to be a nurse in order to get this master's degree in nursing. How do you feel about these direct entry programs, and do you think that that's one of the biggest challenges that are facing nurses? Is people needing nurses so fast, quote unquote, that they're kind of shortcutting the process just to get them there.
That's a good question. So what I will say is there's nothing new under the sun. Social media just has had a way of highlighting a lot of things that have already existed, previously in the past. Um, I have I don't agree, with schools that are just pushing out, degrees. I don't really know what that looks like because that's not been my trajectory. But I do know that not everyone's path is the same. Again, I didn't start out and do CNA. I didn't I wasn't an LPN. I didn't have any medical background besides what I've seen, out there. So I'm that person that did live nerve agent, worked with live nerve agent, and did, an accelerated 2-year program. That was so someone may look at my path and be like, ooh, you know, she she just got pushed through or whatever. The MSN program is sort of that non-traditional route is where people come in with other degrees. Now, they have to pass the NCLEX. They have to go through some type of clinical. It is going to pose a challenge. That's one of the things. Like for me, coming with a different career, I had challenges. Understanding certain medical terminology. But I'm a reader. I read. I can catch them. But I had challenges. In that environment versus someone who started as a CNA or LPN. Um, so I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but I just want to kind of circle back into um, everyone's path is different, and we have to, respect that. But I am not a fan of just pushing, people through, you know, just so you can get to that expected end.
Absolutely, I get what you're saying. You're saying that we shouldn't have diploma mills, and we shouldn't just be pushing people through and like kind of getting just making nurses for the sole purpose of making nurses. However, what it seems like you're saying is that not everybody's path is the same. What you're saying is you might have that one person that might do this direct entry, and they might be one of the best nurses that nurse that nursing has ever seen. And on the same side, oh hi Lou. Lou's another nurse. He was the psych nurse I was telling you about.
Oh, hey, Lou.
And you might have people that, just like you said, I've known people. My last nurse practitioner, she said I was a CNA, LPN, RN.
Right.
Then I did a RN to MSN program. There might be some people that be like, "You didn't get your BSN." She's like, "Nope."
Right.
She is like, "Nope, I got that." And she got her. I guess it's called like a bachelor's in passing. Like,
Yeah, a pathway program, you
mm-hmm,
know, it, just like there are some programs that have, what is it, BSN to DMP.
mm-hmm.
So,
I've seen
so
this.
you know, so again, there are different pathways, different pathways to get to where one needs to be.
Yes, and for those of you that don't know, not only am I doing this because it's nursing week, but nursing is a profession that I'm considering going into. Uh,
Okay.
it is. I told my sister, she kind of is talking. She's talking me out of it. Um, because I told her I wanted to be a psych nurse practitioner, and she looked at me and said, "Why not be a psychiatrist?" And I was
Mm.
like, I got quiet because I couldn't answer the question. She's like, "I'm serious. Why not be a psychiatrist?" And I looked at her because I didn't have a response. I didn't think nobody would
Do it. You
like
know,
challenge.
I have a brother on here called my brother Dexter. He said, "Do it. Do PMHNP. Do psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner." The beautiful thing about that, when you do that, is you bring in nursing background and medicine together. I'm telling you,
It
do.
is, and I do. I was telling my sister that too, where I heard on TikTok where somebody said, and I said it to her before I went into my explanation, where I was like, doctors practice medicine, nurses practice healthcare. Is there medicine in healthcare?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Are there
Yeah.
doctors that actually truly do care about the people that they're seeing?
Yeah.
Yes. But she was just like, they don't practice the same thing. Well, basically, I was telling her is that they're looking at this particular science differently. The end goal is to help the patient, but they're looking at it differently. She's like, okay, that makes sense.
You have a nursing process, you know, that is the core, of what we do and who we are. And so it's intertwined, with the medicine. Telling us a unique thing. Do it.
It is. That's why I told her, when she said that too, she looked at me because I told her like I would either be a psych NP, a psych PA, and she was like, why not be a psychiatrist? Like she literally said, I'm not understanding why. Like you have not told me one reason why. You can't even think of a reason. Still to this day, I'm like, I mean, you're right. I don't really have a reason why I'm not. I just don't become a psychiatrist. Because she was just like, yeah, so go do. I was like, but aren't you a nurse? Shouldn't you be encouraging me to become a nurse? She was like, no. She's like, she's becoming a vet. She's like, I'm becoming a vet.
Mm.
So obviously,
I love nursing, um, because it offers so many different opportunities. And I have to, like I said, give big ups to the Army for allowing me to pursue, and it didn't end there. That was just one chapter of my life. I've taken my nursing skills, my nursing background. I didn't get to share here yet that while I was in nursing school, without knowing so much about it, but prior to that, I had made a trip to Honduras. I hadn't been there 9 years, and I I ended up funding the education of two young ladies in Honduras to pursue nursing school so they can become nurses and give back to the community. And, and
that's what's
um, you know, I'm going to revisit that thing back again because I want to do it again, But that was my first thing. They graduated a few months before I did, you know, and they gave back to their community.
I love
That was,
that.
yeah, I remember when they asked me, well, how can we repay you? I said, I don't want nothing besides you paying the community. Take
I love that.
take care of the community.
That is such an inspiration. That is something that I want to do. Go
Mhm.
back to my city and find the people that I know will take advantage of it. Will be like, yes, Thank you. All I need, because sometimes all people need is just that financial. And
Yes.
they're not going to make you regret it. They're going to be like, I'm taking off. I'm getting the highest level degree. Thank you for believing in me and all that.
Yes.
So I do love the fact that you did went back to your country and were able to help those that were wanting to pursue nursing, and because it's good to give back. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I do. That's what, especially when I lived in, because I lived in Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to go back.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I did. I lived in Central America. I lived in Costa Rica. I lived in República Dominicana. I lived in Ecuador. I definitely want to go back. Oh, you know my bachelor's is in
Yeah.
Spanish, right? Yeah, that's what I say. I talk about it all the time. Like, so I definitely want to go back and live.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, I still would like to help those that are from the city where I'm from. On
Absolutely.
top of that, I have no problem helping especially when I'm in these areas,
Mm-hmm.
these people. However, I personally would love to help those that want to do certain situations, like to show other people, to show um black people, black men, like, hey, I'm a black male. My degree was in Spanish. My undergrad is in Spanish. Even
Mm-hmm.
my professor said, Josh, do you realize how rare that is to be a
Yeah.
black man with a Spanish degree? Like, I can count on you on one hand how many black men I've had that I've taught
Yeah.
that I was advising to go for Spanish degrees. He's like, me and Dr. Spin Weber. We've been doing this for over 30 years, and we can count on one hand. So this is very rare that you are a black man that wanted to pursue this type of education. And I want to show other people that too, that you can pursue non conventional degrees and still make money and still live and thrive and move around. So thank you for being that example as well. I do have one. I think there's one final. There's two
Yeah.
other. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, here's one right here that I know you'll love. What
Okay.
advice would you give to someone considering a nursing career?
Oh man, I feel like that's so loaded, but I would say when you know that you know in your heart that nursing is your purpose, passion, and calling, then pursue that. And I say that because those were the three words that had to hold me even when I failed certain courses. Even if you hear people telling you, like I heard an instructor say, maybe you need to think about another career. Know that nursing is your purpose, passion, and calling. And seek mentors, people that are in that space that can help you achieve that, that can help you achieve that. Um, yeah, stay connected to it. Stay focused, on it. If you can shadow a department so that you can kind of, you know, see what it's like. There's many different specialties, of course, to it. There's many different specialties. But just know that your experience is going to be different. And I say that because there are people who are leaving, they're burnt out, they're tired, and they're saying, I don't want to do this, I don't want to be at the bedside, and I get it, and I understand. But there are other areas within nursing, that you can pursue that where you might and you will flourish. So stay connected to that. You want to pursue it, then seek out the ones that are within that field, seek out mentorship, seek out shadowing, and know that nursing shall be your purpose, passion, and your calling.
I like that. Well, yes, but so before we end, is there anything else that you would like to add, Dr. Cologne, about the wonderful field of nursing? Like Dr. Cologne, who shocked me, I thought she was a traditional student, is a non-traditional student, first generation,
Mhm.
gave back to her community, got into public health, which, fun fact, my aunt actually switched to public health after
Oh,
years of the bedside. She did. She became what is on Stephanie? Director of WIC.
okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So she was happy. Like she, just like you, she fought for that
right.
position.
Yeah,
And she got it. And we celebrated that for her because she really wanted that position. Like that position, just like public health was near and dear to you, public health was near and dear to her heart. And she
yeah.
really wanted that position. And when she got it, everybody's like, she got a position. I was like, so
Congratulations.
yeah, so I'm glad that one of the things that she brought up, y'all, is that those who are considering nursing and, have done bedside or don't want to do bedside, there's other avenues that you can that still does service
Yes.
the community. Like she does public health. My aunt does public health. there's psych, there's people that do. There's a lady literally right around the corner from my house that has a med spa.
Yeah, aesthetics.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does her aesthetic. There's another one down the street,
Yeah.
and she does IVs, so like
I,
hydration bars.
yep.
Yeah, so there's other ways that like people have utilized their nursing skills and potential, like, and I don't want people to all that catapulted them. Another thing, I don't want people to think, just like she said, my grace, there's times she failed. One of the best nurse practitioners I know said that she had a tutor throughout her whole entire BSN and NP because she said science was not her strongest. She's like, if you ask me what my worst,
And that's okay. There are resources out there to help you to get to where you need to be. So that's another thing. There are resources to get you to where you need to be. You know, I feel somebody needs to probably hear this. When I pursued my nurse practitioner, I told you I did 3 degrees in 3 years, right?
mm-hmm,
So sister, and then I was my husband spent a lot of the time on the road. He worked for the military, and I was raising 4 kids, right, from teens to well, yeah, teenager to toddlers. My brain capacity was at a it has reached its max. Right? So I did not pass on my first try my nurse practitioner exam. I was at capacity. I had to hire a tutor to get me through that hump, in addition to what I already, have for myself. But I had to, because now at this stage in my career, and that's a whole nother thing, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I have PTSD, anxiety, and major depression. I had to hire a tutor that would specifically understand these are the things that I am struggling and challenged with, but I'm trying to get to the expected end. She happened to be a PMHMP, tutored, and got me to that expected end and helped me. So I say that mm, nursing is your purpose, passion, and calling. There's no end to that.
there's not. You won't let nothing or no one stop you. Just like she said, she had to hire a tutor, y'all. There are nurses, there are doctors out here, y'all, that will tell you they had to hire tutors.
Mm-hmm.
They failed biology the first time. They struggled in OChem,
Yep.
but they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're there, you're not going to sit there and ask Dr. Colón, Dr. Colón, what was your GPA during undergrad? Dr. Colón, did you pass it the first time? You don't care. As the patient, I don't care.
They
You're
don't.
here. So obviously you passed. Obviously, the state that we're in saw fit to give you a license to say you can be a nurse practitioner.
That's right.
So I need for those who are watching, who are thinking about becoming just an LPN or just a CNA or just an all that, these people don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Your patients don't care. If you're there, obviously you passed.
Yep. Yep.
And so and so we really want to drive that in. And if this is something that you're passionate about, call a tutor. There is no shame in being able to say, I ain't that good at anatomy. Let me call somebody up who is good at anatomy to help me, because you realize once you become a nurse, once you're on the other side, you'll be like, I'm done. And once you learn the information, you'll be able to properly apply it. That's what everyone says too. Even doctors have said, you would think the hardest class would be a chemistry class. No, they said A&P, having to know all the bones,
Mm-hmm.
having to know all the veins and all these arteries and where everything is. And once they learned it, you don't forget it because you're always constantly using
Yep.
it.
Get connected, stay connected. Can I plug in
Yes,
something?
absolutely.
Earlier, so I shared with you about the girls in Honduras, but I also want, I have a nonprofit. I'm revamping some things at the moment right now, but Um, every year, annually, I do go to Honduras, and it's a part of my backpack to help an education program where we provide healthcare resource and educational resources to the village over there. So I work with the schools and I work with the local clinic that are over there. We do health fairs, handing out basic items. And I did bring, someone did come along with me, but the whole part of that is I want to bring along more nurses, healthcare professionals, even, lay persons to come and experience, immerse yourself in the Garifuna culture, get a retreat experience, but also serve the community. So just stay tuned to that. Just wanted to put that out there. That
Absolutely. And when that does come up, tag my page because my page is always open for stuff like that. I'll definitely apply. I'm not a nursing student. I'm not a Pierre doctor student yet, but I'll still come.
well, I'm like,
But because I speak Spanish, so I'll still come and I'll still just I can talk to people. That's about it. I can have a conversation.
yeah.
See, you already have somebody that's wanting to go.
Okay,
My friend
Lou.
Lou, who's a nurse. Yep.
Okay, I got you.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so y'all two can connect, Lou. As you see, she's tagged. She's very nice,
I,
very sweet, very wholesome person. She's
I
not mean. She's not evil. A lot of people don't know that she's an author, and so she's very nice, sweet. She just wants to help people. That's why she became a nurse, is to help the community specifically. So she has two communities. Her American side, her, if you want to get more specific about it, her Black American side, because has she lives this experience. Like when people see her, they're not going to say, "Hey, Garifuna, hey, Latina."
until they Philippines. That's a whole nother
Yep.
topic.
You said what?
I said that's a whole nother topic in itself.
That
Whole nother,
is.
yeah,
I remember when Gina Torres talked about that topic. She was like,
yeah,
"I've lived my life as African American, although she's like, I'm Cuban." So it's like,
yeah. It's a hit or miss. Yeah.
I was like,
So.
"Yep." And then she also has her Garifuna culture too, so she's helping both
Mhm.
communities. So it's possible, y'all, with the resources that she's had, she's able to help both communities. So I would definitely like to encourage you guys to follow her, reach out to her. If this is something you're interested in, nursing, just shoot her a quick email saying, "Hey, what are the prereqs? What do I need to have before?" And she's nice enough to be like, "Here are the basics, but always remember, y'all, when it comes to prereqs, depends on the college."
Yes. Yeah, but your basic is always going to be AMP1, AMP2, chemistry. Those.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
So that's exactly what she will do. She'll help you. She'll guide you. She's a mentor. Go to her website. Go to her services.
Mhm.
Sow into her money. So,
Oh.
so, bless. Sow into her. People do stuff for free, y'all, but ain't nothing wrong with where you want to go. You sow. You sow where you want to go.
That's
So
true.
sow into her. So if you want to ask her for help, sow now. So. Mm-mm.
Right? Okay, Joshua.
I'm big on that too, of you, especially
Yeah.
because that comes around because when you
Before I,
sow, that becomes a memorial up into God. Like, Lord, I sowed into her because she's where I want to be. As she does community help, so do I. Please open those doors. You saw I sowed this much at this time, Lord. This is like you say. You bring up the money that I give you as a memorial. Hey, but it was so great talking to you, Doctor. I greatly appreciate this.
thank you for having me.
Thank you for plugging in her email, y'all. That's her email. I'll make sure to edit it and put it up top for those that want to connect with her, especially about going to where she's from, her Garifuna culture, Honduras, Roatan, in order to, you know,
Okay.
in order to like connect and all that stuff. We will. Thank you so much, Doctor. Is there anything else that I forgot? If not, we can always
No,
do another live.
I know, right? No, no. I just want to say thank you. Sereme. So that's another word in Garifuna. Sereme means thank you. Sereme for this opportunity, and just Sereme to those who showed up.
Absolutely. Thank y'all all for showing up. And I will talk to all of y'all soon. Once again, connect with Dr. Colón. She love to hear from you every time she goes live, y'all. Support, support, support. We will talk to you guys soon. Bye, Doctor.
Bye. Adios.
Adios.